Ever wondered what happens when you completely disappear from someone's life? I'm not talking about stepping back slightly or playing hard to get. I mean fully vanishing. No texts, no calls, no signs of life. In a world where people seem to take relationships for granted, have you considered the ripple effect your absence could create? Think of it like a sudden blackout in a city. The lights everyone assumed would always be there are gone, and chaos quietly begins. This is the power of vanishing. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Today, we're diving into a deeply transformative idea, what they truly feel when you disappear from their life. These aren't just fleeting emotions. They're waves of realization that hit harder as time passes. If you've ever been in a relationship where someone treated you like an option, this video is your wake-up call. We're going to uncover 9 emotional stages they experience when you disappear. 9 moments that make them confront the truth of their actions. Each stage is like a mirror, forcing them to see what they overlooked when you were present. By the end of this video, you'll understand why walking away is sometimes the most powerful move you can make. Why? Because absence doesn't just create space, it creates clarity. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm not just giving you 9 stages. There's a bonus 10th stage you won't want to miss. It's the final blow, the ultimate realization that leaves them questioning everything they thought they knew about you. Now let's get started. 1. Missing you hits harder than they ever expected. At first, they might tell themselves they're fine. They convince themselves your absence won't matter. I'll move on, they think, shrugging it off like it's nothing. But when you truly disappear, when you pull yourself entirely from their world, it leaves a void they can't ignore. This isn't just a passing feeling, it's a gnawing emptiness that grows louder with each quiet moment. Think of a room stripped of all its light. It's not just dark, it's suffocating. That's what your absence feels like to them. They go about their day, doing the same things they always have, but something is different. The colors feel duller, the laughter quieter, the routine lifeless. They might not have realized it before, but you were the spark that gave everything meaning. They thought they could easily replace you. Maybe they even tried. New faces, old distractions, hobbies they hadn't touched in years, but none of it fills the void. Why? Because what you brought to their life wasn't ordinary, it was irreplaceable. You were the calm in their storm, the steady heartbeat in their chaos. No one else can replicate that. You never miss the water until the well runs dry. And here's the kicker. They can't find you. You've disappeared completely. No casual checks on social media, no number to dial, no way to ease the ache by seeing a glimpse of your life. Each failed attempt to reach out only makes the emptiness sharper, the void harder to ignore. They might try to bury the feeling, telling themselves it's nothing, but deep down, they know the truth. They underestimated you, undervalued you, and now they're left with a silence that screams louder than any words ever could. Let them sit in that silence. Let them feel the full weight of your absence. Only then will they truly understand the depth of what they've lost. 2. The pain of rejection, a mirror. They can't escape. Rejection cuts deep like the sharp edge of a blade, but when someone feels it from you, someone they thought they had wrapped around their finger, it's not just a passing sting, it's personal. For the first time, they realize they've lost control. People don't appreciate what they assume will always be there until it's gone. That's what happens when you walk away. You were their steady presence, their emotional anchor, and they mistook that stability for weakness. What's always there becomes invisible until it vanishes and leaves a gaping void. When you disappear, their mind begins to race with questions they never bothered to ask before. Why did they leave? Was it something I did? Did I not give enough? Each question hits like a wave, pulling them deeper into an ocean of doubt and regret. They start to replay every interaction, every missed opportunity to appreciate you, every moment they dismissed your value. Here's the truth they don't want to admit. When someone knows you'll always be there, they start treating you like an afterthought. They make you an option instead of a priority, a placeholder instead of a partner. And the irony, they convince themselves they're doing you a favor, as though their crumbs of attention were something you should feel grateful for. The love you gave, the effort you poured in, the way you always showed up, it wasn't just a convenience for them. It became their foundation, and when you remove that, it's not just your presence they lose, it's their sense of control. Control is a tricky thing. People cling to it without even realizing it. They like knowing someone will answer their calls, reply to their texts, and be there when needed. But when you stop being predictable, when you vanish without warning, you shatter their illusion. You make them see what they refused to acknowledge before. They never truly had control over you. They'll ask themselves, how did I let this happen? How did I lose someone who was always there for me? The rejection forces them to confront their own behavior. It's like a mirror, unrelenting and unforgiving, showing them the truth they avoided for so long. Here's the secret. Don't give them a warning. Don't issue ultimatums or beg for attention. That's like telling them you're about to pull the rug out from under their feet. It softens the blow. Instead, leave quietly, without explanation. Let them feel the full weight of your absence. Silence is louder than 1,000 words, and your absence will echo where your voice once was. 3. When they start chasing what they lost. It always starts small, a like on an old Instagram post, a comment they think will go unnoticed, or that classic late-night text that reeks of nostalgia and regret. I've been thinking about you, they'll say, testing the waters. At first, it seems innocent, but make no mistake. They're chasing now. The tables have turned, and the power they once held is gone. What once felt like control now feels like desperation. Their pride may tell them to hold back, but the ache of losing you screams louder. They're no longer the person who took you for granted. They're the one scrambling to win you back. You'll notice their attempts to reconnect become more obvious. They might send a message late at night when their defenses are down, hoping their vulnerability will lure you back. But here's the truth. This is your moment to stay silent. Silence isn't just a lack of response, it's a declaration of power. If you respond, the dynamic shifts. They'll think they've regained control, and the desperation that fuels their pursuit will fade. But if you hold firm, they're left with nothing but their frustration and regret. Each unanswered message becomes a reminder of what they lost, a whisper in their mind that says, "This is your fault." Sometimes the loudest words are the ones you don't say. In this stage, their mind is a battlefield. On one side, they want relief, to know they can have you back, to soothe the ache of regret. On the other, they feel the sting of realizing they can't undo what's been done. They'll wonder, have they moved on? Are they happier without me? Did I lose them forever? Let them wrestle with these questions. Let them chase you, reaching out in every way they know how, only to be met with silence. This isn't about playing games. It's about protecting your worth. You've worked too hard to let their pursuit pull you back into the role you've outgrown. Let them feel the exhaustion, the longing, the emptiness of trying to grasp what's no longer within reach. 4. When relief turns to regret. At first, they might feel an intoxicating rush of relief, convincing themselves they've escaped. Finally, I don't have to deal with them anymore, they think, as if cutting ties was a weight off their shoulders. For a fleeting moment, this so-called freedom feels exhilarating, like stepping into the open air after being trapped in a stuffy room. But here's the truth about that freedom. It's hollow. It's an illusion that crumbles as quickly as it appeared. They distract themselves with friends' parties or an endless scroll through dating apps, trying to fill the void you left. On the surface, it looks like they've moved on. But when the laughter fades and the room grows quiet, the cracks begin to show. The people they thought could replace you feel shallow, fleeting, insignificant. It's like drinking salt water to quench their thirst, tempting at first, but leaving them more parched than before. They realize what they lost wasn't just a person, but a connection that can't be replicated. Let them sit with that regret. Don't rush back in to comfort them or ease their pain. That emptiness they thought was freedom, it's their lesson to learn, and one they'll never forget. 5. When curiosity becomes an obsession. At first, they're overwhelmed by the void you've left. But as the emptiness grows, something more insidious creeps in, an unbearable curiosity. Questions flood their mind, relentless and unyielding. Where are they? What are they doing? Who are they with? You've become a puzzle they can't solve, a mystery they can't resist unraveling. The unknown isn't just unsettling, it's magnetic. The less they know, the more they need to know. In an age dominated by social media, this stage is even more intense. They'll scour every platform hunting for breadcrumbs of information, your Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. They'll scroll, refresh, and search for anything that might give them insight into your life. But here's the twist. You've gone completely dark. No updates, no stories, no posts. It's as though you've vanished from existence, and it's driving them to the brink. Why? Because human beings can't stand the unknown. Their mind starts spinning tales, filling in the gaps with their own fears and insecurities. Have they moved on? Are they seeing someone else? Have they found happiness without me? The answers they imagine are far worse than any reality. It's a cruel irony. Someone who once believed they didn't need you is now consumed by thoughts of you. The unanswered question is the loudest sound in their mind. The truth is, Curiosity is a double-edged sword. It starts as a question, but soon becomes an obsession. The less they know about you, the more their imagination takes over. They'll picture you thriving, glowing, happier than ever, and it eats away at them. To feed this obsession, stay a ghost. Don't give them anything to latch onto. Every unanswered question is a seed of longing, growing into a forest of regret. Let them wander through that maze, knowing they may never find the way out. 6. When they're forced to face themselves. There's a point when the silence becomes deafening and their endless curiosity begins to wane. That's when the real reckoning begins. They stop looking outward and turn inward, confronting a harsh reality they've been avoiding. What if I'm the reason they're gone? This stage is brutal. It's where self-reflection takes hold and doesn't let go. They begin to replay every interaction in excruciating detail, dissecting their words, their actions, their indifference. Was I too distant, too cold? Did I push them away? These questions aren't fleeting, they're relentless. Like shadows in the night, they creep into their thoughts, stealing any peace they once had. A clear conscience never keeps you up at night, but guilt, that's a thief of sleep. Their thoughts turn dark and introspective. They wonder what might have been if they'd just acted differently, valued you more, or showed even a fraction of the effort you gave. Regret begins to morph into guilt, a heavy, suffocating guilt that whispers, "You had something good, and you ruined it." The weight of regret is a chain no one escapes easily. At this point, they might fantasize about going back in time, doing things differently and fixing what's broken. But time doesn't work that way, and they know it. This in itself is a powerful lesson, a stark reminder that actions or lack thereof have consequences. And yet, as the guilt builds, so does the desire to reach out, to explain themselves, to apologize. But here's the thing. During this stage, you must remain silent. Don't intervene, don't break the spell, and don't try to guide their self-reflection. True growth happens in the silence between realization and action. They need to stew in their regret, to let it carve its lesson deep into their psyche. Because the harder they reflect, the clearer it becomes to them that their actions or their apathy led to this. 7. When your absence speaks louder than words. Silence is a weapon they never see coming. In a world addicted to noise, texts, notifications, endless calls, the absence of your words is louder than any argument. It doesn't just unsettle them, it consumes them. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of everything they don't want to face. They expected you to react, to ask what's wrong, to plead for closure. But what happens when you don't? When you simply vanish, leaving no explanation, no trace, no reassurance? It's a void they can't fill, and it gnaws at them with every passing moment. Each minute without your presence feels endless, stretching their anxiety to its limits. Silence is torturous because it flips their expectations. They're used to the chaos of communication, the arguments, the back and forth, the certainty that you'd always respond. But now there's nothing, no sound, no closure. Just the echo of their own actions bouncing back at them. In the absence of your voice, they hear the truth they've been avoiding. Let them sit in that quiet. Don't break it. Don't explain yourself. Silence isn't empty. It's full of all the things they wish they could undo. 8. When their tricks fall flat. Desperation makes people do foolish things, and now they're scrambling to regain control. But instead of facing their emotions head-on, they retreat to the oldest trick in the book, playing games. They'll act distant, post pictures with new people, or craft cryptic captions that scream, "Look at me, I'm doing just fine." It's a spectacle designed to provoke, to make you wonder, to make you chase. But here's the catch: they're playing a game you've outgrown. When you stop chasing, the game becomes meaningless. They'll try every move they can muster. Their attempts to manipulate you through jealousy are as transparent as glass. The irony: they're chasing your attention while pretending they don't care. Silence is the ultimate power in a game of words. The harder they try, the more frustrated they become. Their subtle digs and exaggerated social media posts bounce off you like rain on a windshield. They're grasping at straws, and every failed attempt only magnifies their loss of control. By ignoring their antics, you flip the script entirely. The game they thought they could manipulate now plays against them, leaving them powerless and flailing. They'll soon realize the truth. A game without a player is just an empty performance, and you're no longer watching. 9. When they realize what they've lost. Fear is a cruel teacher, and it always comes too late. For the longest time they felt secure, believing you'd always be there. They mistook your loyalty for permanence, assuming you'd stick around no matter how little effort they put in. But now you're gone, and that comfort has been ripped away. What's left is fear, a deep, paralyzing fear that they've lost you for good. We never fear losing what we take for granted until it's no longer ours to hold. This fear isn't fleeting, it's all-consuming. They replay every moment they took you for granted, every chance they missed to show they cared. Worse, their imagination betrays them. They picture you with someone new, laughing, thriving, building memories that don't include them. The thought twists like a knife in their chest, an ache they can't escape. Pride and ego crumble under the weight of this fear. All their attempts to play it cool or act indifferent vanish. What remains is raw desperation. They'll reach out, sometimes with long, apologetic messages spilling their regret. "I didn't realize what I had. I see it now. Please, give me another chance." But here's the hard truth. By the time fear takes hold of them, you've already moved on. You've found your strength, rediscovered your independence, and reclaimed your worth. Let them face the consequences of their actions. They need to learn that you're not a fallback, not a choice they get to make when it's convenient. Some lessons are learned too late, and some losses are never recovered. You've risen above the person they once knew. Their fear is their burden to bear, not your reason to return. The final stage, the pain of realization, when it's truly over. The greatest pain isn't in losing someone, it's in knowing you could have kept them and chose not to. They replay everything, every moment they dismissed you, every time they took you for granted, every opportunity they had to show you love and respect. It's not just regret anymore, it's shame. A shame so raw, it makes them want to crawl out of their own skin. So here's the surprise you've been waiting for. The bonus stage isn't about what they feel. It's about what you've gained. While they're stuck in the quicksand of regret, you've grown stronger, wiser, and freer than ever before. The greatest power lies not in their realization of loss, but in your realization of freedom. Let this be the stage where you reclaim your narrative, where you stop looking back and start moving forward, knowing you've left an indelible mark on someone's life, not out of bitterness, but out of the strength you've found in yourself. Because in the end, the final stage isn't about them, it's about you, and you've already won. If this message struck a chord with you, don't stop here. Hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to make sure you never miss another video that helps you reclaim your power and embrace your worth. By subscribing, you're not just supporting this channel, you're choosing to invest in yourself and your journey toward becoming the strongest, most confident version of you. Join our community and let's keep growing together. Don't wait. Hit subscribe, press the bell icon, and take control of your future. The best version of you is waiting.